Hello and welcome back to the Tin Barn. I'm Pragmatic Lee, and in this week's video we're going to make a set of soft jaws for my pedestal vise. In a crunch I've used just a piece of aluminum angle, drop one over each jaw, but a couple of characteristics of a soft jaw is, of course, number one, it's made out of something softer than the material you're holding, either aluminum or copper or maybe even brass, but mostly copper or aluminum. The second characteristic is that it has a slick surface, whereas your normal vise jaws have a grid in them to bite the material. The problem with using something like just a simple piece of angle iron dropped over the jaw is that it wants to move. And it's also, again, it's slick, so it's another one of those situations where you need 3 hands or 4 hands, one to hold the material, 2 more to hold each one of your jaws, soft jaws in place, and a 4th to turn the handle. So we're going to try something a little different today. I got a piece of 1-inch thick aluminum. Looks like somebody may have used this for a bench anvil at some point in time. It's kind of ragged there, but we're going to take most of that out. But what we'll do with this is cut 2 1-inch square blocks out of it. It's 1 inch thick, so we'll cut 2 pieces 1 inch. This is already just shy of 4.5 inches, which is the jaw width on my pedestal vise. So let's turn over to the mill now, and we'll get set up using the slitting saw to cut off 2 1-inch pieces of this. Got the workpiece seated down in the vise good, and I would like to take a full cut at one time, but this is a 3-inch saw blade. The arbor is about 1.2 inches, so that doesn't leave me an inch on each side. It comes up a little bit short of that, so I'm just going to be sure I'm cutting beyond center. That should be good there. And I'm going to bring my saw blade down until it just touches off. Zero out. Now I know my saw blade is 100 thousandths thick. Actually it's about 0.96, but I'm going to go 1 inch 100 thousandths, and that should give me clearance all the way around. Alright, I think I probably want to slow it down a little bit, and let's see what this will do. You can see back here in the background I got my shower curtain up to keep these chips from flying over in my desk area. And I'll keep a little WD-40 on this. Alright, once I see that everything's going to clear now, on the y-axis, I'll just come across to the other side. Alright, I can see I'm going to be involved in my back jaw back here, but I can bring this in a little closer and I think clear that jaw without having to take it off. That's going to be very close, folks. I'm going to take just a minute and take this back jaw off. Okay, folks, it's been a while since that back jaw been taken off. Those bolts were tight. But I think we got clearance everywhere now. So we'll go back in our other direction and cut the back half. Alright, we've got our piece, our first 1-inch piece cut off. So what I'm going to do now is take an end mill and just clean this up just a little bit on the top up here. Then what we'll do is raise this up on parallels and cut another 1-inch block back. I'll bring you back when we get ready to take the two pieces and make them exactly 1 inch. Alright, I'm back over at the mill now, and what we're going to do is take out a section of these jaws. Down here in what looks like the bottom now, this is going to be the clamping surface. It'll be 250 thousandths thick. And up here at the top will be 150 thousandths. This is what will sit on top of the vise jaw, and this will be the clamping surface. This is the other one. So what I'm going to do is take this roughing end mill and pretty much hog out the inside of this. I'll be going 750 thousandths down, since these are 1-inch square, and I'll be going 150 thousandths in. This is not so critical that I got to get the edge finder out, but what I will do is simply take a piece of paper, and when it pulls it out of my hand, I'll know I'm close enough. That paper's 2 thousandths thick. I'll zero out the Y now. Not that it really matters, but I'll come in the 2 thousandths and zero out again. As I say, I want to come in 850 thousandths. There's the 850. So I will zero out the Y-axis on the DRO such that I'm looking for 0. Now, setting right here, we'll touch off on the Z-axis, zero that out. I will come in. I should be able to come down 750 thousandths if my parallel is high enough, and zero out the DRO there. Now this, I think I'm going to start with about 50 thousandths at a time. I can do more than that. Let's come on down. Alright, I'm going to step in about 50 thousandths as well, just to see what that feels like. Alright, we can obviously take a lot more than that. I'm going to come on in so that I'm not quite halfway the half-inch end mill, which would be about 250 thousandths. And you'll see a little bit later, in just a little bit, why I'm leaving 250 thousandths on the clamping edge of these jaws. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take 300, a little over 300 thousandths there. That should bring me to my finish. We'll see how this does. All right, this end mill is working very good with the aluminum. So I'm going to come on down to the bottom. We're going to experiment a little bit here. And I'm going to pretty much take the full width of the end mill. Step back from that just a little bit. That's a whole lot better. That's let's see, that's just a little over 200 thousandths. That's about 450 thousandths deep now. Alright, for this final pass, I'm going to actually climb mill a couple thousandths and go back in the other direction to clean that up. So here is one of our soft jaws, and again, the way that will set on the pedestal vise is like such. So I'm going to put the opposing one in now and do the same thing to it. Alright, we got both jaws hollowed out now. And again, the way these will work, over on the pedestal vise, these will set in place and serve as soft jaws to clamp work in between. As I said at the beginning of the video, one of the issues with just using a piece of angle iron here is that the soft jaws don't always want to stay in place. So what I'm going to do is mount a couple of these magnets in each soft jaw, and I've got it laid out on this one where those magnets can go. Two will be a plenty. I thought about putting a third one, but two will be a plenty. But I've got them laid out where they won't interfere with the screw heads that hold the hard jaws onto the vise. They're recessed a little bit, and I'd like these magnets to be as close to contact as possible without getting in the way. So I'm going to mount this back in, and this time being mindful to keep the end in place with the edge of the jaw. And to easily locate these two punches that I've made, I'm going to use the wiggler. I know that's kind of old school, but I enjoy bringing it out every once in a while. And in reality, this doesn't have to be near that precise. Alright, I'm going to zero out both X and Y axes on the DRO. Now let's come down here to this end. Alright, that's 3.444. So I'll make me a note of that. A 7/16 end mill. A 3/8 is not quite large enough diameter for these. So I'm going to go with 7/16, which will give it a little bit of clearance around. And the thickness of these, if I can get one of these off, 0.1065, we'll go about 110 thousandths deep. Alright, so I'm going to get the end mill loaded, and I'll bring it right back. Alright, so I've got the end mill in place. I've got X and Y axis both locked in place. So let's touch off the Z now. Zero right there. We'll put just a little bit of tension, and we're going to come down 110 thousandths. Didn't even think to look, but yes, this is a center cutting end mill. Now let's set the magnet down in there. I stopped at just a little over 100 thousandths. That didn't work too good. See if I can find something non-magnetic to put across there. That's just a little high, so we will go to where it indicates 110 thousandths. Yeah, I can definitely tell that's below the surface, just below it, so that's exactly what I want. Now let's come over to our zero on the DRO. We'll do the same thing here, come down 110 thousandths on the Z. Alright, I'm going to put the other jaw in, keeping this edge the same over here, and then we'll have one more step to do before we're ready to glue the magnets in. Okay, I think we're ready to do the last step on these soft jaws. I've laid out a center line on what will be the clamping surface. I've laid out a center line, and I've laid out a line 1 inch from each end on both of the jaws. This is an end mill, a 5/8 end mill that was in that group of tools I picked up recently. That looks like it's been shop ground. I'm sure it's shop ground for special purpose. It looks like, best I could read, about 70 degree angle. Kind of an odd angle. But what we're going to do is use it and cut a V groove. Through the center line and on each of these 1 inch lines. And we're going to cut that 100 thousandths deep. Now hopefully you can see why I left this clamping surface as thick as I did. I left it 250 thousandths. We're going to come in 100 thousandths over here, and on the other side we come in about 110 thousandths for the magnets. I think I'm going to speed this up a little bit. See if it'll clean up pretty good. I may have to slow it back down. That looks like it's doing pretty good. So I'm going to turn around and come right back. Same settings in the other direction, just as a cleanup pass. All right, now we're going to get lined up on these two Then we're at the 1-inch line. Alrighty, I'm going to do the same thing to the other jaw so that it is a mirror image of this one. And then I'll glue the magnets in and we'll meet you over at the pedestal vise to wrap this video up. Alright, I got the magnets glued in now and I'm back over here at the pedestal vise. And you remember the thick part with the magnets in the back and the V-grooves in the front go up against the jaws. And the V-grooves, of course, are to easily maintain. See, the magnets are holding everything in place now. One hand on material, one hand on the handle. Just make it a whole lot simpler. They're not going to fall all over or fall off whenever I release pressure. So, hope you've enjoyed this video. It's a simple little project, but I think they'll be very worthwhile. And it just happens on this pedestal vise that the arm down here on my rotating tool tray, which will swing to either side, but this arm is metal, so right there will be an ideal location to store them. Again, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.